Hey everyone! Welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a very ambitious video. If you didn't know, I started a new series on my channel called Are These Books Even Good? And last video I did this for was Hyped Booktube Books, or Hyped Booktube Books Even Good. So this time I wanted to do our Book of the Month books Even Good. I went through my entire read shelf on Goodreads and I cross-checked the Book of the Month website to see how many of those were available through Book of the Month. So if you don't know what Book of the Month is, it's a monthly subscription service. This video is not sponsored by them. I have been sponsored by them in the past, and I've used them in the past as a subscription service. So all of these books are books that you can get as a part of their monthly box that you select from, whether it's an add-on or it was one of the featured books of a previous month. So I have, this is so absurd, I have 128 books that I have to go through with you today. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna tier rank them. And I'm going to determine whether or not I have had a good experience reading Book of the Month books. And I have no idea how this is gonna go. I hope it's mostly positive. So we're gonna go through all 128 books together. I can't believe I've read that many of them. And we're gonna see, are Book of the Month books even good? So hopefully this is helpful if you have a Book of the Month subscription or you're curious about it. Maybe this gives you some ideas of what kind of books you can find on there and maybe which ones to check out if you do have their subscription. So I'm going to share my screen with you. I am, for obvious reasons, not going to go in depth into a summary of each book or a full length review of each book. We're just going to give like real quick thoughts on each one because this video would be the length of a season of television if I gave a review for every book. So I'm going to share my screen with you and we are going to go through this together. As you can see, I have 6 different categories. Favorite of all time. Now there are books I know are truly, like if I were to make a list of my favorites of all time, these are the books that would be on them. And some of them are Book of the Month books. So right away I know that this is going to be a category that I definitely use, but I just don't know how often I'll use it. Amazing. So it's not a favorite, but it's a 4, even 5-star book. Amazing. Love it. Really recommend it. Worth the read. This is one that maybe I wasn't as crazy about. I didn't love as much, but I definitely was happy that I read it and overall had a good time with it. So it's not something that I'm gonna shout about from the rooftops, but hey, it's worth the read. And then meh. These are the ones that I really didn't like or didn't connect with me personally. And then I honestly don't remember. So I've had Book of the Month. I started my subscription years ago, over 5 years ago. So I know that there are books that I received from this box that I don't even remember like what my thoughts were on it, what the actual story inside was. Like I may have like some small tiny recollection of it, but like overall I just honestly don't remember enough to even tell you a rating. So that's where those books go. And then DNF. I do have some books on this list that I know I did not finish. So here are all of the books. Oh my gosh. We're gonna go through, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be here for so long. That's why I just need to go rapid fire. All right. Stop talking, Jessie. Let's get into it. All right, very first one, Rules of Civility by Amor Toils. I honestly don't remember. I don't know. Where'd You Go, Bernadette? I liked this one. I thought it was really cute. I had a good time with it. I thought it was worth the read. Life of Pi, amazing. Not a favorite of all time, but I love Life of Pi. I thought that one was fantastic. The Martian is a favorite of all time. Oh my gosh, love The Martian so much. I'm so glad that Book of the Month has this book. It's amazing. Truly one of my favorites of all time. All the Bright Places, I don't remember. I know that I read this so long ago. It's a young adult contemporary. I remember it being quite heavy, but I just don't remember enough about it to really give you detailed thoughts. Devil in the White City, definitely worth the read. That was a really good one. Not my usual type of book, but I really enjoyed it, especially the serial killer storyline. Oh my gosh, so engrossing. Salt in the Sea, definitely, oops, I would say worth the read for sure. This one was a young adult historical fiction and told a piece of history that I'd never heard of before. Really, really good. The Nest, I don't remember. I cannot tell you one single thing about The Nest. I read it so long ago. I don't know. This Tender Land, amazing. I love This Tender Land. I love the writing, the characters. I still remember a lot about that book to this day. I love that book. It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. This one is worth the read, and I know that I don't need to hype this book. If you go in with the right expectations, this is not a romance, and if you know that going into it, then I think it's worth the read. So if you're not looking for a romance, then you can pick up It Ends With Us. Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, very meh. It's fine. It's fine. I don't even think it's really worth the read. It's just so average. Behind Her Eyes, though, I thought this was amazing. You're either gonna love or hate the twist at the end. I personally loved it. I loved it. Gentleman in Moscow, I would say that this one is worth the read. Now, this one for me wasn't a favorite, but like objectively speaking, as objective as you can be with books, I do think that this is very well written. I can see why this would appeal to a lot of other people. It's not my personal preference of story, but I can see a lot of people liking it, so worth the read. Pachinko. This one for me is meh. And I know that a lot of people love this book, and I know it just got adapted, and it was just so depressing. It was too sad. I just did not like. The Possessions. I don't remember The Possessions at all. And Startup. Can't tell you anything. It's so sad. It makes me so sad when I can't remember anything about the book. I mean, that tells you that, like, I probably didn't love it, but I really don't remember anything. Eleanor Oliphant, I loved Eleanor Oliphant as a character so much. I loved her story. I thought it was so heartwarming. So Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. I think that's amazing. The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Do we even need to really chat about it? It is so hyped, and I think it's worth the read. I don't necessarily think it's the best book of all time. It's not my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book, but it's definitely still worth the read. I did really like it. A Clockwork Dynasty by Daniel H. Wilson. I don't remember. I know it's steampunk, and that's why I picked it up, but I don't remember a thing about it. I don't know. That's so sad. Final Girls by Riley Sager. I really like this one. I definitely think it's worth the read, and this led me on to reading more Riley Sager. So I thought it was a really good one. Bonfire. This is so sad. I think this is front-loaded with a lot of books I don't remember. I don't think that this is gonna keep happening to me. I don't remember anything about Bonfire by Kristen Ritter. I really like Kristen Ritter as an actress, which is why I picked it up. I don't remember anything about it. That's so sad. Same with The Wife Between Us. Oh my gosh, it's so sad. I don't remember. This is a thriller, and it had a twist of some kind. It's a domestic thriller. I don't remember. I just don't know. The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu, I just thought was very meh for me. I know the story itself and what it's saying is beautiful, and it was well written, but it was just, I didn't love the magical realism part of it. It kind of took away a lot for me. So Little Fires Everywhere, though, definitely, I think this is amazing. I really loved the writing and the characters in this one. So good. Oh my gosh. A Woman Is No Man is a favorite of all time for me. I just read this one recently. So good. You have to pick it up if you haven't. It's amazing. If you love contemporary fiction, this one is amazing. Then She Was Gone, definitely worth the read. That one was very harrowing, and I really liked it. I thought it was very well done. Not that I could tell. Nope, I don't remember. Chalkman by CJ Tudor. This one was very meh for me. I don't remember a lot about it, but I do remember not liking it. So that's sad. But yeah, that one was very meh. The Broken Girls, I definitely think is worth the read, by Simone St. James. I love Simone St. James's writing style. I love her paranormal horror thriller books so much. Oh, so good. The Perfect Mother. This is really embarrassing. It's getting embarrassing now. Jessie, what are you doing with yourself? I don't remember so many of these. That's so sad. The Perfect Mother by Amy Malloy. I don't remember anything about it. I'm so sorry, Amy Malloy. I'm so sorry. Circe is amazing. I love Circe. It's just such a beautifully written story. So good. Same thing with The Anomaly by Michael Rucker. Total surprise for me. Thought it was so much fun. It was like horror, Indiana Jones, creepy stuff. I loved The Anomaly. I think it's severely underrated. So good. The Last Time I Lied, I think it's worth the read, but it's on the lower end of worth the read. It's my least favorite Riley Sager so far, but I still overall enjoyed it, and the ending was really good. Oh, Cross Her Heart by Sarah Pinborough, so meh. I picked up Cross Her Heart because I loved Behind Her Eyes, and Cross Her Heart was not very good. It was very average for me. Yeah. The Dinner List was another one that was very, very meh for me. I did not really enjoy much about The Dinner List, so that was unfortunate. Golly, I'm so embarrassed right now. Watching You by Lisa Jewell, I don't remember. I'm so sad. Okay, to be fair, all of these in this row, I read more than 4 years ago. So it at least it's not like super recent reads, but still, that's not great. Spinning Silver is at the top of worth the read. It's almost amazing for me. I love the first half of this book so much. So good. It gets a little caught up in like some of the fairy stuff too much for me, but I love the beginning of that book. So good and very well written. 9 Perfect Strangers by Liane Moriarty. I'm kind of bummed that this is one of the only Liane Moriarty books that Book of the Month has, because it's by far my least favorite Liane Moriarty. I usually really like Liane Moriarty. Big Little Lies is my favorite by her. 9 Perfect Strangers, not so much. Did not really enjoy that one much at all. The Silent Patient's definitely worth the read. I really liked that one. The twist I did not see coming, so that was really fun. Miracle Creek by Angie Kim, I would say amazing. That one was really beautifully done, and I loved the courtroom stuff. So compelling. Artemis, I think is worth the read. I know that Andy Weir fans, some of the fans, not all of them, don't like this one because it's very different than The Martian. So if you just know that it's not at all trying to do what The Martian did and it's doing something completely different, and your expectations know that going in, you might really like it. I had fun with it. Daisy Jones and the Six is one of my favorites of all time. That is by far my favorite Taylor Jenkins Reid book. It is so good. I love Daisy Jones and the Six. The Oracle Year, amazing. This was one of my biggest surprises. I was not expecting anything going into this book, and I had the best time with it. It was just such a page turner, so fast paced, so much fun. Lock Every Door, at the top of worth the read. I really enjoyed Lock Every Door. I almost want to put it at amazing because it was so much fun, and I loved the ending and the atmosphere of it. The Whisper Man is one of my favorites of all time by Alex North. Love that horror book. Oh my gosh, it had like every horror trope that I love in it. Kids that see imaginary friends, paranormal horror stuff, and like a creepy return of a serial killer, copycat serial killer type stuff. It was so good. The City We Became was meh for me by N.K. Jemisin. I didn't love this one, and N.K. Jemisin is just not the author, I think, for me. She has a very distinct writing style, and I just did not connect with it, unfortunately. The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware is definitely worth the read. I had so much fun with the atmosphere of this one. It was so creepy and fun. The twist at the end lost me a little bit, but the journey getting to the ending was so much fun. So definitely worth the read. Ask Again Yes was a DNF for me, unfortunately. Did not really connect to anything going on in that one. Fate of the Fallen, I read for a book club, and I did not like Fate of the Fallen by Kelcade. This is one of the only fantasy books. So I will say Book of the Month is not great for fantasy. I just personally don't love their fantasy selections usually. They do have a couple in here that we'll get to, but Fate of the Fallen was not for me, not at all. Long Bright River by Liz Moore, I think was worth the read. This one was a very compelling kind of crime thriller and had a very interesting sister relationship in it that I really liked following. Get a Life, Chloe Brown was so fun by Talia Hibbert. I loved Get a Life, Chloe Brown. I thought it was really fun. I just loved the humor in it, and it was just cute. It just made me smile. The Maidens. Ugh, no, not for me. I know it's so polarizing, and I am on the did not like it side of that debate for The Maidens. Not a fan. The Sundown Motel, though, amazing. I love The Sundown Motel by Simone St. James. And then Home Before Dark right after it, favorite of all time. I love Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. That's my favorite Riley Sager. So creepy, so much fun. Oh, loved that one. In a Holidays by Christina Lauren was amazing. I had so much fun reading this last Christmas. It was a total surprise. Was not expecting anything going into it, and I just had the best time. Legendborn is definitely worth the read. I had a lot of fun with Legendborn. It got a lot of YA fantasy tropes in it, but it just does them really well, and I really liked the themes and the magic. It was just fun. One by One was very meh for me by Ruth Ware. I think just Ruth Ware is just not the author for me, but I did like Turn of the Key, so I keep giving her more tries, and I just keep getting disappointed. So yeah, One by One was very average. The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I'm going to say is like, again, kind of towards the top of worth the read. I think for a lot of people, I can see why it's like a favorite of all time. I thought it was really well done, very beautifully written. It just got a little repetitive for me, but I definitely think it's still worth the read because for some people it hits so hard, and I love that for them. What You Wish For by Catherine Center, I DNF'd. I really disliked the main character that we were following in that one. But Beach Read, I thought was amazing. I love Beach Read by Emily Henry. I just had so much fun again, and I like that it tackled some harder topics as well. Just thought it was, again, like a perfect summer romance. Mexican Gothic was kind of meh for me. I didn't love the horror elements. I didn't love any of the characters, and yeah, it was just unfortunate. The Survivors, I DNF'd. This is my first Jane Harper that I've DNF'd, and I'm bummed that we really don't have any other Jane Harper as part of the book of the month because I usually love Jane Harper's books. But The Survivors, I just was so bored, unfortunately. Oh, I was so bummed. The Final Revival of Opal and Nev is definitely worth a read. I had a lot of fun with that one. It was similar in the way it was told to Daisy Jones and the Six, but had very different themes and characters that it was following, so I really liked that one. Project Hail Mary. This one goes right up to favorite of all time. Love Project Hail Mary. Oh my gosh, just almost like probably top 3 favorites of all time. Love Project Hail Mary. People We Meet on Vacation, I did not like this one. I just really didn't buy it. I didn't buy the romance at all. Just did not have the best time with that one. However, The Maid by Nita Prose, this is favorite of all time for sure. Love The Maid. Love Molly, the main character, so much. So much fun. Malibu Rising is amazing. So my tier of Taylor Jenkins Reid books, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Malibu Rising, Daisy Jones. I loved the characters in Malibu Rising so much, even though I wanted to just shake some of them. I loved most of them. A History of Wild Places, I DNF'd, unfortunately. I just didn't love the type of mystery book this was. However, Sankofa by Chibundu Onuzo was amazing. I loved that book. I thought it was really, really well done. Kaikeyi is definitely worth the read. That one is very similar in kind of tone and style to Circe. Really, really liked Kaikeyi. I thought it was beautifully done. A Flicker in the Dark is also worth the read. I had a lot of fun with that one. I thought it was a really, really well executed thriller. The Unsinkable Greta James, I found amazing. I loved this story. I loved Greta James's personal journey that she went on. It just like hit really hard for me. It was just so sweet. I loved it. The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James is amazing. I loved the Book of Cold Cases. So I have so much fun with Simone St. James in general. I think she just does really awesome stuff. The Paris Apartment, I DNF'd. I was really, really bored, unfortunately. Yeah, really bored by that one. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow I thought was amazing. It's not a favorite of all time, but it's amazing. And I really liked the characters, even though they were incredibly flawed. Loved that one. Bronsstrom was a DNF for me. Again, I was just bored by it, unfortunately. Spells for Forgetting was amazing. I was so surprised by that one because it's more magical realism, which is not something I usually love, but I loved Spells for Forgetting. Small Angels was a DNF, unfortunately, as well. Another one I was just not having any fun with. The True Love Experiment by Christina Lauren. I just read this one and I had so much fun with it. It was so fun. It just made me smile again, and I loved the whole concept of it. I just thought it was really fun tropes that it was exploring. Ready Player One was amazing. I love Ready Player One. I just had so much fun with that book and I just could not stop reading it. I loved all the 80s stuff. If you are a fan of the 80s at all, you gotta read Ready Player One. It's so much fun. The City of Brass. I was so excited to see The City of Brass was one of the Book of the Month picks. I did not know that, and I love The City of Brass. I thought it was really, really good. I was very excited to see it. And even though it's not like a favorite for me, it's definitely a really good and I think accessible adult fantasy book. So was very happy to see that that was a selection at one point. Imaginary Friend by Stephen Chbosky. This is another one I was so happy to see is one of the picks that you can add on. I love Imaginary Friend. If you know my channel at all, you know Imaginary Friend is my favorite book of all time. So of course, I gotta put it right at the top. Oh, so good. So good. Death on the Nile, I definitely think it's worth the read. Even though I was able to predict the twist, I still had a lot of fun. Agatha Christie's books are so much fun. I'm surprised no other Agatha Christie's are on Book of the Month, but Death on the Nile is a really good one. The Last Tale of the Flower Bride. I'm going to put this as favorite of all time, which I am shocked by. This is my biggest surprise, but I loved this book so much and I loved the writing of it so much. So I just chef's kiss. Oh, I love that book. The Perks of Being a Wallflower, I definitely think is worth the read. I didn't read this in high school, and I think it would have been a lot better if I'd had read it in high school. It would have hit a lot harder. And even though I read it kind of past the target audience age, I still had fun with it. I still thought it was very, very good. The Mothers by Britt Bennett, another one that's very much worth the read. I really enjoyed this one, and the characters and the messy kind of drama, it was really good. How to Walk Away by Catherine Center is amazing. I love this book so much, and it's not really a romance, it's more just like personal journey, finding your happiness. I love that kind of stuff. The Heart's Invisible Furies by John Boyne. This one is a favorite of all time. I love that book. I love the characters of that book so much, so much. And the writing and the humor, just all of it is so good. Things You Save in a Fire's really, really worth the read, I think. Really fun, just light-hearted, sweet book that I enjoyed. Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I don't remember much about this book. I need to reread it so I can continue on. It's very hyped though. It's a great one that they have that I was surprised to see was a Book of the Month book. I would recommend checking it out. I just don't remember enough about it. I need to reread it. The Vanishing Half was, I'm going to say amazing because I loved the characters in this one and just the way the story was executed and the themes explored was so good. Such a good book. The Firekeeper's Daughter, same thing. Love that book. That's amazing. Young adult mystery that I was just so intrigued and enchanted by. It was beautiful. World War Z, I would say worth the read. I had fun with that one. Zombies in general just aren't my favorite thing, but if I'm gonna read a zombie book, I was happy to read World War Z because of the way it was told. So I liked that one. Anxious People is one of my favorites of all time. I just, again, love the characters, love the humor. It just totally worked for me. I smiled, I cried, I laughed. It hit all the right notes. The Push was amazing. So dark and twisted. Oh my goodness. It's a dark book, but I loved it. I loved it. I couldn't look away. No Exit, again, amazing. I love No Exit, so good. I just could not stop reading that book. And then The Last Word by Taylor Adams. I gotta put this in favorite of all time. A new favorite just this year, and I loved it. Again, could not stop reading it. It was bonkers from start to finish. The Great Alone is another favorite of all time. I love this book so much. Oh my gosh, it made me cry. I loved it. The Wife Upstairs, I don't really remember enough about it. And this one's sad because I didn't read it that long ago. So I'm a little embarrassed by that one. The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna is amazing. This one's almost like too sad in some parts, but it's so good still. I just love Kristen Hanna's like character work. She just does amazing stuff. Reckless Girls, I would say, is worth the read. I had a lot of fun with this one. It's like an islandy atmosphere, very good summer thriller. Perfect summer thriller. The Nightingale is one of my favorites of all time for sure. Oh my gosh. Again, just like the characters. It's so good and it made me sob. It was so good. All the Ugly and Wonderful Things, very taboo book, but oh my gosh, is it beautiful. I think that book's amazing. It's so good. And I think that won like book of the year it came out. It was so good. Exit West was a DNF for me, unfortunately. The writing style did not work for me at all for that one. Transcendent Kingdom by Ya Gyasi. This one was amazing. I love Ya Gyasi. I love her work. Homegoing is one of my favorites, so I was a little bummed to not see Homegoing was an option, but Transcendent Kingdom was also beautifully written. Happy and You Know It. If you love a good, juicy mommy drama book, Happy and You Know It is perfect for you. So I would say it's worth the read if that's what you're looking for. If you do not care about mommy drama, that's not going to be for you, but I had a lot of fun with it. The Anthropocene Reviewed, oh my gosh, that one is worth the read. I listened to the audiobook for this one, and I thought it was a very good audiobook because John Green narrates it, and I just thought it was very sweet in a lot of areas, and very kind of like profound in some areas. So yeah, I really liked that one. An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green is amazing. I love that book. I was so surprised by that one, and it's like an adult sci-fi, but just tackles a lot of really interesting themes like around humanity. Just thought it was really well done. Swimming Lessons by Claire Fuller. I don't remember anything about that book. Nothing. The Collective was very meh. That's like a very average thriller for me. Lessons in Chemistry, I'm going to say that one was amazing. Not a favorite of all time, but I had a lot of fun. I just loved the main character so much. I had so much fun with that one. Sharp Objects, I'm going to say, is worth the read. Very dark. All of Gillian Flynn's books are very dark, but that one was really good. Really good. Gone Girl, however, is one of my favorites of all time. I will never forget reading this one for the first time, and that monologue, oh, if you know, you know. It's so good. I just love Gone Girl. The Woman in the Window, I think, okay, this one by AJ Finn, I think AJ Finn is like, had some wild stuff come out about him after I had read this book. So I don't, I don't know really much about this author or what came out, but I know it's kind of like wild. So I had fun with this one. I actually really liked it when I read it, but I don't know if I would have read it if I had like seen all the crazy stuff come out about the author after the fact. But if that doesn't bother you, then I mean, it was really fun. A Nearly Normal Family. I loved this one. I love a good courtroom thriller, and that's exactly what this provided, and it was just so well done. Loved it. The Guest List, I definitely think is worth a read. I love the atmosphere of that one. The mystery itself was really fun, so I had a lot of fun with that one. Somebody's Daughter by Ashley C. Ford is a memoir, and I thought it was amazing. The audiobook for it is fantastic because the author reads it. So good. So beautifully written. This one is I think it's Dark Places by Gillian Flynn? I don't know. I can't see the title or the author, so I'm just going by this little lock that's here. I think it's Dark Places, and I would say worth the read, but again, very, very dark. So if you are okay with all of the content warnings, then it's definitely worth the read. All the Light We Cannot See, again, that one's going to be worth the read, kind of similar to A Gentleman in Moscow. It didn't necessarily work great for me, but I can see how it would work really, really well for other people who really appreciate beautiful writing. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch is one of my favorites of all time. I love that book. Love that book. It just blew my mind. I remember I didn't have any expectations going into it. It was before I'd seen all the hype around it, and I just loved it. It totally worked for me. The Wonder by Emma Donoghue. I was bummed to not see Room by Emma Donoghue, but The Wonder is still definitely worth the read. I really like The Wonder. The mystery behind it is very intriguing, but I was really hoping to see Room because that's one of my favorites, but that's okay. Maybe they'll eventually get it. Recursion by Blake Crouch. I thought this one was amazing. I liked Dark Matter more, but it was very, very similar to Dark Matter. So if you like Dark Matter, you'll probably really like Recursion, and vice versa. Recursion was a lot more focused on like time travel. So if you like that kind of stuff, Recursion is for you. American Dirt, I had a really good time with that one. I thought it was just beautifully written. The characters were wonderful. The story itself was really powerful, so I really liked that one. The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abby Dare. This is one of my favorites of all time. It's so good. It's so beautiful, and I just love the main character so much. Untamed by Glennon Doyle. I would say this is worth the read. It is kind of like a self-help memoir book, and it leaned a little bit more on the self-help side than I think I would have liked. I would think I would have liked it more if it leaned more on the memoir side, but I would still say it's worth the read. It had some quite poignant and powerful things about it. The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. Don't remember. This was very meh. There was like nothing special about this one. I was shocked that this received so much hype and so much like love. I think it was either nominated and won the Goodreads Choice Award or something for thriller. Shocked. And it got adapted. I was so confused because it was very, very average for me, unfortunately. Same thing with Upgrade by Blake Crouch. I was very disappointed by this one because I did love his two other books that I read before this, but this one was just very meh for me. And then The Love Hypothesis, we end on a positive note. Yay, because this is one of my favorites of all time. Love this book. It's so cute and fun, and it just made me smile from start to finish. Oh my gosh, we did it, and we did it in less than 40 minutes. Wow. Okay, so 128 books. Let's take a look and see what all of this means. So I am shocked by how many favorites of all time I have from Book of the Month books. I mean, that's amazing. The fact that there's more than 10 books on this list of favorite of all time is amazing. And then, I mean, look at all the amazing books. So tons of worth the reads and not as many below the meh line. For a while there at the beginning, I thought we were going to have a lot that I didn't remember or that were meh, but then we really picked up the steam in the second half of our tier ranking and found a lot of favorites and amazing books. So, I mean, as you can see, this is pretty skewed towards the positive side. I have way more positive books than I do negative books. And I think for me, what I've learned from Book of the Month is it always makes me step outside my comfort zone, which is a big reason why I was subscribed to them for so long, because my comfort is fantasy. And like I said, if you are a big fantasy reader, I don't necessarily think Book of the Month is going to be for you because there's not much fantasy that gets added. Same thing with sci-fi. The couple sci-fi they do have are some of my favorites, like Indie Weirs and Ready Player One. But that's not what Book of the Month I think really excels in. I think they excel in the contemporary, literary, and historical fiction, and then sometimes you get an awesome horror thriller book. A couple of their thriller books didn't land as well for me, but a lot of them do land. So I gotta give Book of the Month credit. They really do pick out some awesome books. So I'm very curious to hear your own thoughts on Book of the Month and some of the books that I talked about today. Do you have a Book of the Month subscription? Are you interested in it? Have you read some of these books before, and what do you think of them? Let me know all of your comments down below. Very curious to hear what you all have to say about it. And thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like to, and I will see you all in my next one. Bye!